No matter what you try to empower people to do, there's always going to be somebody in the corner like, yeah, but I can't do that because, and he talks about that in the very beginning of this book. It's called The Rise of Victim Culture. There's a group of people, mostly young, disaffected, who have decided it's easier to be cynical than to improve themselves. And I said before that these people who do this, their goal is not even to really get help. Their goal is to sit and pick apart your suggestions or your ideas for them to do better, just so that they don't have to do better, because now they have a solid excuse to not do better. So he says, they say things like, LOL, invest, I can't even save enough for pizza. LOL, find a job, what world do you live in? Maybe if the boomers hadn't ruined it all for us. People actually compete to see who's the bigger victim. Oh, you can't afford a 4-bedroom house at the age of 26? I can't afford to live in a cardboard box. Oh, you like going to parties to meet new people? That must be nice. I have social anxiety, so I can't do that. What? No, I didn't see a doctor. I diagnosed myself. You know who's the real victim here? Me. I'm offended at you being offended in the stupidity of this entire victim culture. And that sounds harsh, but it's so true. When you want to do something, you're going to figure it out. When you want to do something badly enough, you're going to take whatever steps are necessary to get there. And if you don't want to do something, or if you decide that it's too hard, if you're too embarrassed to admit that it's too hard, or you don't want to do it, you will make up excuses that sound good enough as a reason for you to not do the thing. So he says, I refuse to play into the theatrics of how you can't afford to save even $20 a month. I went through it with this, y'all. When I was doing that savings binder publicly, I stopped showing people, because I was on here showing how I was realistically saving the money, and people are like, how are you saving money in this economy? Yo, you're saving $5,000 in that amount of time. Well, first you have to actually make $5,000. Like, okay, if you can't save $5,000, save 100, save 20, save 30. Like, what do you want me to do? Right? Like, do something, or be quiet. When this book was originally published, I got hundreds of angry emails accusing me of being an elitist for encouraging people to save and invest even a modest amount. Those cynics were wrong. They surrounded themselves with other naysayers, brought flimsy arguments, and incurred a staggering cost for their beliefs. They missed out on hundreds of thousands of dollars of gains. Meanwhile, my readers put in the work to create their rich lives. You choose, be a cynic, or carefully evaluate your options, knowing you'll probably make a mistake here or there, but you'll grow at each step of the way. I choose to move forward. So again, if you decide that 1,000 is too much, but you're like, I can do 200, that's still a step in the right direction. You're not going to have 1,000, but you'll have 200. But if you say, I can't do anything, well, you'll have nothing. And this is not just about savings. This is anything in life. It's about your weight loss. It's about your health goals. It's about your money. It's about your social media management. It's about content creation. It's about everything. Like, how you do one thing is how you do everything else. And if you make excuses in one avenue of your life, chances are you're going to make excuses in the next avenue. So he says, I understand this is a complex issue. Yes, socioeconomic policy, access to technology, and pure luck do matter. For example, if you start off with 2 parents and graduate from college, you're already luckier than most people on this planet. But we play the cards we're dealt. I believe in focusing on what I can control. So again, just because you didn't have parents who were together, or you didn't have the opportunity to go to college, well, what can you do with the circumstances that you're living in? For example, by the time I entered kindergarten, it was clear I would never be in the NBA. Fine. On the other hand, it was clear that I would dominate the S out of my classmates in spelling bees. Also fine. Then there were the gray areas, like starting a business, becoming more fit, learning to be better, and dating. I had to learn those skills and work really, really hard. This is where the victim mindset comes in. So many people complain about politicians and sociological problems without looking around at their own behavior. They give up at the first sign of failure. If you want to be a passenger in life, fine. Go with the flow, he says. I found it's a lot more fun to be the captain of my own ship, even if I go off course sometimes. And I want to point out that you cannot plan everything in your life and it go exactly as you plan, because that's just not how it works. And God always is in control. But you can do things to better yourself and to put yourself in the positions that God has outlined for you. And I would say that a lot of times people even use religion or like God as the reason that they're in the circumstances that they're in, when it's really just they made poor choices and now they're suffering the consequences. It's not God holding you back. It's you choosing to be stagnant by the actions that you made, right? And so he says, as you can see, I don't have a lot of sympathy for people who complain about their situation in life but do nothing about it. That's why I wrote this book. I want you to be empowered to take control of your situation, no matter where in life you started from. I want you to have a level playing field against these huge Wall Street firms, mindless articles, and even your own psychology. Here are a few examples of victim culture when it comes to money. I can't save any money. And then he goes on to explain how he started this challenge, and he got so many angry emails. So the challenge was save $1,000 in 30 days. And here is what the types of emails he got. Doing this is impossible for me. I don't make enough to try this exercise. Nice idea, but the current median family income here in Ohio is $58,000 a year. After taxes, this means only a monthly paycheck of about $3,400. Note, this is the median. So fully half of Ohio families live on less than this. I doubt any of them could save $1,000 a month without selling off their children. That'd be nice. If I made $1,000 a month, I might try it, but I'm in university. So he says, first off, notice that crazy people have a particular way of writing. They're always trailing off at the end of a sentence, and all of these did have ... If someone writes you and says it must be nice or that sounds hard, odds are they're a serial killer who will be knocking on your door very soon, then wearing your skin as a raincoat. He's pretty funny. Also, people love to use their particular situation, living in Ohio or Malaysia, or not having gone to an Ivy League school, to explain why they can't get the same results others can. And I used to engage and show them examples of people in their own area who got amazing results. What was their response? Well, did they have increasingly obscure criteria, moved around 3 times as a kid, 11 fingers, whatever? As soon as I said no, they'd say, see, I knew this wouldn't work for me. And here's the kicker. Cynics don't want results. They want an excuse to not take action. Ironically, even if they win their own manufactured argument, they lose overall because they're stuck in the prison of their mind. So some of the other things are, this world is against me. And then he goes on to explain how you can't blame other people for your problems. And that's the next section. This is just the beginning of the book, and he got me rolling. This is so funny. But the book is I Will Teach You to Be Rich. I had a friend recommended this book to me, and she had very practical results. She said that the book was very straightforward, and she enjoyed it. So I decided that I was going to read it too. And of course, I will share my interesting parts with you.